David, let's talk a little bit about your background first. Now, both of your parents are deaf, and your sister is deaf, and you were born deaf. So, from the very beginning, you learned how to communicate with your parents. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, do you remember first learning to communicate with your parents, and how did you first communicate with them? How did they teach you to communicate within the family?
Well, that was my natural mode of communication with my parents. Hearing parents always talk to their hearing baby, right? But deaf parents always sign to their deaf children. And they were always pointing out objects and telling me what the sign was for this sofa and whatnot. And my father took me to the zoo and showed me signs for all of the animals, and we had a good time with that. And they always talked with my mother always talked with me, even when it was story time. We would read and sign at the same time and look at the pictures. So it was great communication with my parents. They were always there for me and always talking with me all the time. And so when I went to school, I found out that teachers have different ways to sign, and I had to learn how to talk with other hearing students by writing notes and whatnot, and they would see my parents. I would see my parents writing notes with hearing people, so I learned to do the same.
Now, did your parents know right away that you were deaf? I mean, obviously that must have been a concern when you were born, I think, wasn't it? So did they find that out right away that you were deaf?
Oh, yes. By the time I was home, they were already clapping their hands behind my head and seeing if I was responding to noises and whatnot. But I never responded to any of them, like a hearing child would, so they just decided I was deaf.